So, if you're watching this video right now and you just turned 18 this year, raise your hand. I'd like to inform you right now that you are a part of Generation Z, not a millennial. This is the first year that Generation Z will be coming of age here in the United States. I'm a first-generation American, and my siblings are young enough to be my kids. They're Generation Alpha. This is the world that we're growing up in, so I'm doing this for them. Because, wow, what a life we live. I'm SMI. That stands for seriously mentally ill. I know what you're going to say. Well, actually, I know what they're going to say. The older generation. I'm unstable. I'm terrible. I'm also trans. And I'm also brown and mixed. And again, a first-generation American. We're the generation that was screaming for Bernie when we couldn't even vote yet. We didn't even have a say in our own country, and then suddenly this year we're all being called adults. Dear Generation Z, I'm here to make a lot of points, but I'm going to start with this one, okay? Assisted suicide. Yeah, I said it. Assisted suicide. Our generation is dying every single day. And we deserve to have a right to say, if today you just turned into an adult without anyone else even thinking to say, are you okay? Yeah, it's overwhelming, isn't it? It's so much harder to get a job these days, so much harder to live, so much harder to just be yourself. We are the generation that grew up with the LGBT movement. We're the generation that grew up on Obama. We were 8 years old at most when Obama became president. Can you believe that? And today we're standing here saying we're adults. I don't know about you, but I hate being an adult. There's so much I missed out on. I'm a high school dropout, by the way, but I was a straight A student when I was in school. Yeah. I was one of those tools, the AP class kids who think they're better than you because they're going to get into college and hopefully get that scholarship. I'm also a DCS kid. I was only in the system for a year, but I could see how much it hurt everyone else. Though we were treated more like we're objects, and then suddenly when you turn 18, you get all this power, right? And there's not even a helping hand to guide you. Our generation's expected life expectancy is 150. We're not even a quarter through our lives yet. And they call us adults. Do you ever think about how the world's technology changes so rapidly, yet society stays the same? By the time I'm old enough to even run for president, and I would be the youngest president at that rate too, is 2036. When Generation Omega is going to be out. Yeah, I said Generation Omega. Alpha kids are being born this year. In 2 years, Beta generation's going to start being born. Those are our kids. And you know how bad it is that I'm still talking about how much we're like kids still. Don't yell at me. Don't say these things like you wanted to be an adult anyway, or maybe that's what they're going to be saying. But there's so much more to life than just work, paying bills, and trying to stay alive. Everybody talks about the rest of the world's problems. No, I'm not saying that we shouldn't worry about the rest of the world. I'm saying, why don't we put our own oxygen mask on first? Especially when all the infants are going to be suffocating too at this rate. My siblings were born into Trump's administration. Sorry, I digress. This is the first video I'm doing, so it's kind of a mess. Back to assisted suicide. We're overpopulated. Our generation wants to die anyways. Organ donors. We could just be universal organ donors. There's a book I read, a YA novel, Unwind, where instead of the children deciding whether or not they wanted to be taken apart for their bodies parts, their parents chose. But what about us? What about the 18-year-olds who are apparently suddenly old enough to say that they're organ donors anyways? So let's help science. Let's help the kids escape from what reality is, because if we don't, we're going to die out faster than anyone else wrote. Because you know what's popular these days with my generation? Hamilton. Everyone out there, you're sitting there right now thinking, I wish we could start a revolution. But what about the violence? I was once told by a teacher as a kid, actually, that violence is only solved with more violence. Funny. But I'll talk about that another day. Anyways, I forgot to tell you who I am. I'm Infinity Whatever, and you can just call me Ever. But, again, I'm just here to say, if we were just taught how to be kind to one another, if we just held back onto the rule that you're taught when you are only, 5, 4? The golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. I want to be treated like a human being, so why is it that they can take my right to even take my own life? Why is it that the world seems to have a say at everything we do? Before we're even old enough to understand, the world is a mess, and honestly, if this is some kind of test, then God is sicker than I am. Anyways, I'm gonna end this one with a song, okay? I wrote this on the fly. Strange, odd things life will bring, friends and love and laughs I bleed. Do you think of me? Did you know my life has changed so much without you? You thought you made a difference, turns out it was the worst. You were the curse upon my chest, tearing me down at every single test. You think you were the best, didn't you? Oh, did you know my life has changed without you? I'm so much better off now too, without all you had taught that I was not. Strange, odd things are what I bring. Will you think of me? Will you think of me? Anyways, Ever signing off.